what I'm so confused about, Sir John, is that during his failed leadership campaign for your party last summer, Jeremy Hunt was campaigning, I think, for a corporate tax rate of 12.5%. So how can he, in good conscience, raise it to 25% tomorrow?
Yeah, I know, and that was very eye-catching. I mean, he had a long conversation with me. I was quite tempted by that, but there are other factors that I thought didn't quite add up, so I didn't back him. But it was very attractive, and that was when Ireland was at 12.5%. Now, of course, quite a lot of countries are going over to this world minimum, which I don't think is a terribly good idea. But that would mean Ireland would have to go to 15%, which is why I'm saying, why don't we match them at 15? But even staying at 19 would be a lot better for the revenues and for our prospects. And even the Treasury and OBR forecasters who struggle to get their forecasts right, I think conclude that a higher corporation tax rate definitely does reduce growth a bit. It's bound to, because it puts companies off and it reduces their profits to reinvest. Just look at the North Sea. I think it's dreadful that we are not getting on with getting the oil and gas out of the North Sea that we need, and we are instead importing. Not only does it mean less tax revenue and fewer well-paid jobs, but it even means more CO2 with all the shipping involvement to get the foreign imports in. Yeah. But what is now happening is that now we've got a government that might actually want to get some of that oil and gas out. The people most likely to do it are saying, well, if you have double corporation tax as they do and a windfall tax, it simply isn't worth the bother.
Yeah, no, indeed. And it just feels like there has been one heck of an overcorrection after the Truss premiership because, you know, we've spoken about it lots before. I think Truss had lots of brilliant policies, maybe not enacted in the complete artful way, but actually she wanted growth. And I think your party is going too far the other way tomorrow. That's my fear.
Well, I mean, she went further in her budget than I recommended she did when I had a conversation or two with her about it all, but mainly on the spending side. I mean, the big reason why the deficit went up under her was all those big increases in energy subsidies. Now, I don't think people on more than 100,000 a year really needed all those energy subsidies. They could have been tapered or tailored so that they were mainly paid to people who really were struggling on lower incomes and tight budgets. And that would have helped quite a lot. What we're doing in this country is creating this self-defeating money go-round, that the government has very high taxes on energy, and then it needs to pay a lot of money out as subsidies so that more people and companies can afford the energy. I say cut out the middleman, cut the taxes, and then you don't need all those big subsidies.
Couldn't agree more. The big news tonight, though, this looks like some sort of pre-budget leak. The Chancellor promising to provide 30 hours of childcare a week to parents of 1- and 2-year-olds. The idea being those parents more likely to be able to go back to work. It's a very costly policy, though. John, where do you stand on it?
Well, I want to support the government and the budget, and I understand from the briefings and press reports that they are going to do quite a lot of work on solving this other big conundrum. Why are we so short of workers at a time when we're still blessed with a lot of jobs, even though the economy has slowed down quite a lot? Well, it's great news that we're still generating quite a lot of jobs. It would be good if more people who already lived here and were permanently settled here could take those jobs instead of the cheap labour migrant model, which I've never really favoured. So I do expect a series of measures on that. And yes, for younger people with families, helping them with childcare in some way would be very useful. I hope they also look at the regulation of childcare, because I think we've now got some of the most expensive childcare in Europe and the wider world. And maybe you can still have good quality childcare on a more competitive basis.